Hey folks, my name is Brandon Paul. Thank you so much for being here on my channel. And in today's video, I'd like to talk with you about 10 different ways you can get better at guitar in 2024. Let's do this. The first thing that comes to my mind is memorizing your notes on the fretboard. This one should go without saying, but I'm often surprised with how many people can play, but don't actually really know the notes that they're playing. So we want to avoid that. I want you to have full control over this instrument, and it really does start with having all your notes memorized. So let me show you this really simple pattern if you don't already know it, and I think it's going to help you out a lot, okay? So let me just choose F as a note to start with, and I'll show you the pattern really quick. Okay? So you can kind of see how I was moving this around. It was mainly index and pinky, pattern based. Let me take another one just to show you as demonstration. So G. Same thing. You can apply that to any note anywhere on the guitar. Okay, it works for all 12 notes, and that's something cool that you can use right there. So memorize your notes. Don't slack on that one. So the second thing I want to talk to you about is tuning and intonation. This to me is really critical, especially if you're in the beginning or even intermediate stages of your playing. You want to constantly be checking your tuning. I check my tuning all the time during my practice sessions, certainly live, and as much as I can. And in fact, at this point, my ear is so aware of when I'm in and when I'm out that I feel like it plays a part in my playing altogether. And that's what I want for you as well. Start checking it constantly, not just when you first pick up the guitar, but after you play a song, check to see if you're still in. And you'll get better and better at it to where it's a quick process. And you'll start to hear more when you're out, and you'll look back and say, wow, I never realized I wasn't really in on a lot of that. Now, intonation is more or less how you press down on a note, how hard or how soft. Bending into notes, making sure that you're bending to the correct pitches. You understand a half step, a whole step, a step and a half. And you're working diligently on those things to achieve the correct pitches. All of this goes into proper intonation. So as an example, let's say I'm playing like A minor pentatonic, and I'm bending a couple of the notes into the next note. You want to practice getting to the correct pitch that you want to go to. So I'm trying to focus intently on bending to the right note, the note that I'm trying to achieve. And that's something you got to really work on. So let's put all this in the tuning and intonation box. Now start being more aware of it, and you're going to sound better and better the more you do this. The third thing is going to be phrasing. And phrasing is pretty much just how you say what you say. It's essentially just like me talking on camera to you. It's my inflections, it's my cadence, if you will. The spacing in between what I'm saying. I'm trying to have a conversation here, a constructive conversation. So the guitar is kind of the same thing. Everything you learn just kind of goes into how you say what you say. A really good recommendation that I have is to study some blues. Even if you're not like fascinated by the blues or per se a blues player, you can really listen closely to simple blues, call and response. That's an excellent place to start. You say something as your call, take a breath, and then you respond. Repeat. New phrase. Take a breath, respond. So it kind of doesn't even matter like what I play. The notes actually become very secondary at that point. It's more about how you say what you're saying. You know what I mean? When you say what you say. And to me, that's what quality phrasing is all about. So study some blues as a recommendation, really simple blues overall. And more importantly, I would say, listen to singers and how they phrase. They have to take a breath at some point. You know, they can't just ramble on like this for 20 minutes, otherwise it would get really, really annoying, and you can already tell this is not working. They say something, take a breath, and then they respond. New phrase, so on and so forth. You kind of see what I'm saying? On that note, conclusively with this tip, the guitar is too easy to build technique and kind of just like get lost down that road. It's too easy to work on your legato and then forget this whole concept. And that's all good. That's like cool technique, bro. But, you know, like it's easy to do that and lose sight of being musical. Things like call and response and having good phrasing. So work on that, build up slowly, and you're going to have great phrasing in no time. Number 4, take lessons. This one is super, super obvious, and I think everyone out there who wants to be better at anything should be taking lessons or learning from a coach or a mentor, someone you're inspired by, and certainly someone who's qualified and demonstrates their abilities in their own teachings and in their own career, okay? So definitely take lessons, you know. I'm so proud of all my private students on Zoom that have been doing it for years, because the progress they've made is incredible. And without having a teacher in their life, I mean, they'd probably still learn things, but it just wouldn't be tailored. It certainly wouldn't be exponential or expedited. You know, how much faster or how much progress they're making in a short amount of time. So take lessons. Don't be afraid of that. And don't procrastinate on it. Don't delay. You know, you don't have to take lessons with me, but go find a great teacher who's qualified and get on it right away. The sooner you take lessons and have someone evaluate your playing right away, the better you're going to get, and you can start thinking and playing on different levels. Take lessons. Number 5, what I call case studies. I truly believe you want to pick your 2 to 3 favorite top guitar players and really try and study the hell out of them. Excuse my French. Try and truly learn their stuff note for note, at least the songs or solos that you're really, really into. So let me give you examples. For me, that's always been Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, and a lot of Stevie Ray as well. So I've tried to learn their stuff note for note when I've gone and studied their music. The most recent video I posted, the Hot for Teacher guitar solo. I wasn't going to do my own thing over it. I was trying to cover and pay homage to Eddie Van Halen. So I always try and do that with my heroes, you know. And here's the deal with it. A lot of people might say, do your own thing. You don't want to spend too much time doing that. And you definitely don't want to spend too much of your guitar playing journey, you know, copying people note for note. But with your top 2 to 3 favorite players, if you can do that, when you go and write your own music or when you go and improvise or kind of do things off the top of your own head, the natural tendencies that you got from those players is going to rub off in your playing. So to bring this tip home, study your top 2 to 3 favorite guitar players, go note for note on some of their songs, and then at some point you're going to develop your own style, which is a combination of those players, and some of those cool tendencies and things that you love about those players is going to become part of you. So next up is going to be fretboard navigation. This is a very, very important one. Perhaps one of the most important ones that you can learn is mastering this fretboard. Everything on the guitar, to me, is systematic. We have patterns, we have boxes, we have shapes. And it's always better to navigate this instrument that way. It's not like a keyboard, no offense to keyboard players or pianists, but it's not so just laid out, you know? It's not linear like that. The guitar has a lot of things going on, not to mention electronics and amps and all kinds of stuff if you play electric. So you really want to have systems put in place. And what I teach people is the caged system. You've probably heard of it before, and I truly believe it's just an awesome foundational system to memorize things on the fretboard. It's all based around these open chords, but it goes so much deeper than that, okay? You start kind of putting these positions in other places, and then you put your scales to it. This is like major pentatonic. And you start seeing it in shapes. I'm just giving you one like kind of quick example. But I'm seeing all of this in a shape. It's not about the technique, it's not about any of that. This is just one scale as well. It's major pentatonic. There's so many things you can compound and play off of at that point. It's not just a chordal system. That's the point that I'm trying to make. It starts with these foundational chords, but then you can extend those chords to 7s, 9s, 11s, 13s. You can invert the chords. It's not just major pentatonic with that. You can go, play all of your modes off of it, but you see it within a shape, which is what I mean by being systematic about it. Okay, so fretboard navigation, I strongly recommend the caged system. I teach it to everyone. That's what I've been using, and I don't really struggle on the fretboard because of that. So number 7 is going to be dialing in your tones. This is really, really important. You want to start to kind of understand your amps, start to understand the plugins that you use, start to understand everything that you play out of. It's not just like plug in and play every single time. I understand that's what we want it to be, and it can be that way. You can simplify your thought process by doing that. If you have a great amp, plug it in, play, things just sound really good. But you want to understand why it sounds good, in my opinion. And you want to match it with the right guitar and experiment and explore different sounds out there. Try to understand that a Fender Twin reverb sounds different than a Fender Tweed. Understand that EVH 5150, my favorite amp, sounds different than a Marshall JCM 800. Understand kind of what you're getting in those ballparks at the very least. So if you know you're plugging into a Marshall, you kind of know the territory you're going in. If you plug into a Fender, you know the territory you're going in. If you plug into a boutique amp like a Friedman or something, you know the territory you're going in. The more you can understand your tones, you can dial them in, and you can start shaping things and having your own sound. So try to dial in your tones more, pay more attention. It's going to make you a better player overall. So this segues into number 8, which is basic setup of your guitars. You don't have to become a luthier or like a builder or anything like that. I'm not either of those things. I'm a player. I want to play music. But I also understand that this is a relationship, and I need to take care of my guitars. Basic setup stuff, string changes, intonation, cleanup, cleaning the pots, assessing and troubleshooting when something's going wrong, like understanding what it is. Is it a cable? Is it your guitar? Is it the amp? Basic, tricks that help you keep your guitar in tune, nut sauce, the infamously named nut sauce. Just all these different things that go into really simple setups. There's a lot of things that come to my mind. But action, how low, you can get your strings if you want it lower. Understanding the differences in sounds that can make. Really, really basic stuff overall. You'll save a lot of time and you'll save a lot of money by just being able to do some of these things on your own. So get comfortable with that, develop that relationship with your guitar, and you'd be surprised. It makes you a more complete player overall. So number 9 is going to be building your technique. I truly believe in having as great of technique that you can possibly have. I believe that technique facilitates everything, and it's merely just a technique, whether it's legato, alternate picking, whether it's sweeping, whether it's tapping. These are all just techniques, and on their own, they don't really mean anything when you think about it, unless they're put into context of a musical situation. But all the years that I've spent studying these different techniques, I truly believe that it's helped facilitate everything that's inside of me when I want it to come out. So whether you're focusing on alternate picking, or you're focusing on legato, maybe you're focusing on sweeping, I don't know. Maybe some tapping. All of these are great techniques for you to work on, but they're simply just techniques. Focus on any of the techniques that inspire you and are going to facilitate easier, seamless playing in the songs and the styles that you want to play. So the last and final one that I have for you, number 10, is going to be practice to backing tracks. This is an awesome way to put things in real time, put a track on, you're practicing everything as it's happening, mistakes and all. It's kind of like being naked out there. It's pretty scary, but this is an awesome way to get under the microscope and challenge yourself right away. So everything that you learn, techniques, theories, scales, your favorite player's licks or whatever, try to put backing tracks on frequently and improvise those things so you can start free-flowing. It's just an awesome way to kind of put everything together, in my opinion. Make sure you're recording yourself while you're doing this. It can be audio and it can be video, but audio is great. Record yourself and just sit there and listen back and try and correct some phrases, try to correct some tone, try different guitars. Try different licks, different positions. Like I said, practicing to backing tracks is awesome because it's kind of like an all-in-one way that you can practice everything. Certainly just about everything that we've talked about in this video. So those are the 10 ways that I have for you to get better at guitar in 2024. There's so many great resources out there. There's no better time than now to get good on the guitar. There's a lot of great teachers, a lot of great players, a lot of people that you can learn from. There's a lot of great music out there. Try to stay optimistic with everything and focus on yourself. Implement these 10 things, and I promise at the end of the year, you're going to be a slamming guitar player. If you're interested in one-on-one Zoom lessons with me, check the description box below where you can email and contact me. I teach every single day of the week. And I love teaching people that are serious about learning, beginner, intermediate, advanced, none of that matters. You can live anywhere in the world. I've got students literally from different countries and different spots of the world, so none of that plays a challenge. We can make it happen over Zoom. Essentially what you're seeing right now is what it would be like, a super HD shot, super pro audio coming through. Every lesson is recorded. You can save it for life. And I also have a shared Google document for each individual student where we track your progress and we measure everything. So you're going to make exponential gains. I'd love to have you if you're serious about learning. Contact me below. And you guys have a great time this year. Crush your goals in 2024.